What happens when someone you love begins to slip away? Not because they've made a mistake or broken your trust, but simply because you didn't recognize the value of who they were? How many times have we lost people we truly cared about? People who saw us, supported us, and challenged us, not because they stopped caring, but because we failed to hold on? Relationships are not just built on passion or chemistry. They thrive on qualities that run deeper than fleeting emotions. And yet, so often, we overlook those very traits that make a person irreplaceable. In this video, we are going to look at people who possess these 10 character traits and why we should never let them go. Imagine this. You wake up one morning and realize that the person who once stood beside you is gone. They weren't perfect. No one is. But they had something rare. They listened without judgment, encouraged your dreams, and never let their ego cloud their ability to understand you. They showed kindness even in difficult moments and accepted you for who you were, flaws and all. And now, they're no longer there. You wonder if you took them for granted, if you failed to see how much they meant to you until it was too late. This scenario plays out more often than we'd like to admit. People walk away from relationships with partners who possess extraordinary qualities that should have been cherished, nurtured, and held on to at all costs. So why do we lose these individuals? Why do we sometimes let go of the ones who deserve to be kept close? Perhaps it's because we don't fully recognize what makes someone truly special. We chase after superficial traits, confidence, charm, excitement, while failing to appreciate the depth of character that sustains a meaningful connection. In this exploration, we will delve into 10 essential traits that define an exceptional partner, someone worth holding on to. These aren't just abstract ideals, they are tangible, life-changing characteristics that can transform a relationship from ordinary to extraordinary. Let's begin by examining the first trait, unwavering support. 1. Unwavering support, the backbone of a lasting relationship. There is a difference between being present in a relationship and truly supporting someone. Presence means showing up, but support means standing firm when the world feels uncertain. A supportive partner doesn't just cheer you on during victories, they stay by your side when failures threaten to pull you under. They validate your struggles, listen without judgment, and offer reassurance when self-doubt creeps in. This kind of emotional backing isn't just comforting. It's transformative. It gives you the courage to take risks, pursue ambitions, and grow beyond what you thought possible. Without it, even the strongest individuals can falter. Consider the story of Daniel, a young entrepreneur who spent years trying to launch his own business. He had ideas, talent, and determination, but every setback chipped away at his confidence. His previous relationships had ended in frustration. His partners either dismissed his dreams as impractical or grew impatient with his struggles. Then he met Sarah, someone who believed in him before he could believe in himself. When Daniel faced rejection after rejection, she reminded him of his strengths. She stayed up late listening to his frustrations, helped him refine his pitch, and celebrated even the smallest progress. Over time, her belief in him became his own. With her support, he finally launched his startup, which went on to become a success. Sarah's support wasn't just about encouragement, it was about empowerment. She didn't try to fix everything for him, nor did she pretend failure didn't exist. Instead, she provided a foundation of stability, allowing Daniel to navigate challenges without feeling alone. Research from Carnegie Mellon University reinforces this idea. Supportive spouses significantly increase their partner's chances of success. Their encouragement fosters resilience, making individuals more willing to take on difficult tasks and persist through obstacles. In essence, a supportive partner doesn't just lift you up, they help you rise higher than you ever imagined. But how does one cultivate such unwavering support? It starts with empathy, the ability to step into another's shoes and understand their struggles. A supportive partner listens actively, acknowledges emotions, and offers reassurance without diminishing hardships. They don't compare their own experiences or dismiss concerns with empty platitudes. Instead, they create a safe space where vulnerability is met with compassion rather than judgment. Support also requires consistency. It's easy to celebrate someone when things are going well, but true support shines brightest in moments of adversity. Whether it's a career setback, personal loss, or internal battle, a partner who stands firm through hardship becomes an anchor in turbulent times. This steadfast presence builds trust and deepens connection, reinforcing the idea that no matter what happens, you won't face it alone. In a world where individualism often overshadows partnership, having someone who genuinely supports your growth is invaluable. They don't seek to control your path, but instead walk alongside you, offering strength when yours wanes. If you find yourself fortunate enough to have such a person in your life, recognizing and nurturing that support is crucial. Because in the grand tapestry of relationships, unwavering support is not just a quality, it's a lifeline. 2. Growth through shared experiences. Growth is not a solitary journey. It thrives in the company of others who challenge and inspire us. A partner who actively engages in your personal development is not just a companion, they are a catalyst for transformation. This engagement manifests in various ways, encouraging new experiences, introducing fresh perspectives, and fostering an environment where both individuals evolve together. Such a dynamic goes beyond mere companionship. It embodies what psychologists refer to as self-expansion, the process of broadening one's sense of self through shared experiences and mutual growth. When a partner participates in this expansion, they elevate the relationship from a static bond to a living, evolving entity that strengthens over time. Take the example of Maya and Alex, a couple who initially bonded over their shared love for travel. However, as life settled into routine, they found themselves falling into predictable patterns, rarely stepping outside their comfort zones. Maya, an aspiring writer, hesitated to pursue her dream, fearing rejection. Alex, though supportive, struggled to push past his own insecurities about public speaking. One day, they decided to enroll in a weekend writing workshop together. Though nervous, they found that the experience reignited their creative passions. Maya gained the confidence to submit her work, while Alex discovered that articulating his thoughts in front of others wasn't as daunting as he had imagined. The experience didn't just bring them closer, it expanded their individual capabilities, proving that personal growth within a relationship is most powerful when it is shared. Self-expansion theory suggests that people derive happiness and fulfillment from relationships that allow them to grow beyond their current selves. When a partner introduces new hobbies, interests, or ways of thinking, they provide opportunities for expansion. Even if one partner is more adventurous or curious, the simple act of witnessing the other's growth can be deeply fulfilling. For instance, if one partner decides to learn a new skill, be it cooking, painting, or coding, their enthusiasm and progress can inspire the other to explore their own untapped potential. This mutual encouragement creates a cycle of continuous improvement, reinforcing the idea that relationships should not stagnate, but rather serve as a platform for evolution. However, fostering growth within a relationship requires intentionality. It demands open communication, a willingness to step outside familiar routines, and the ability to embrace discomfort in pursuit of development. A partner who encourages growth doesn't force change, but instead gently nudges their significant other toward possibilities they might otherwise overlook. They ask questions that spark curiosity, suggest activities that challenge existing mindsets, and celebrate milestones that mark personal progress. Ultimately, a relationship built on shared growth is one where both individuals feel empowered to become the best versions of themselves. It transcends the notion of romantic companionship and evolves into a partnership of mutual elevation. When a partner actively engages in your journey of self-discovery, they don't just accompany you, they shape the path forward, ensuring that neither of you remains stagnant, but instead continues to evolve together. 3. Emotional intelligence. The key to deep connection. Emotional intelligence is often described as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage emotions, both in oneself and in others. But in the context of a relationship, it becomes something far more profound, the bridge that connects two people beyond words. A partner who possesses emotional intelligence doesn't just hear what you say, they feel what you mean. They can sense the unspoken tensions, interpret subtle shifts in tone, and respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. This quality allows couples to navigate conflicts with grace, communicate authentically, and build a foundation of trust that withstands the test of time. Consider the case of James and Lena, a couple whose relationship nearly unraveled due to miscommunication. James, a logical thinker, approached problems analytically, believing that emotions were obstacles to clear reasoning. Lena, on the other hand, valued emotional expression and often felt unheard when James responded to her concerns with logic rather than empathy. Their arguments followed a familiar pattern. Lena would express frustration, James would attempt to solve the issue rationally, and Lena would feel invalidated. It wasn't until James recognized his emotional blind spots and worked to develop greater emotional intelligence that their dynamic shifted. He began to acknowledge Lena's feelings without immediately trying to fix them, asking questions like, "How does this make you feel?" rather than jumping to solutions. Over time, their conversations transformed from battles of perspective into moments of genuine understanding. Licensed mental health counselor Carrie Ann Brown emphasizes that emotional intelligence in a relationship is not just about managing conflict. It's about creating a space where both partners feel seen and understood. Emotionally intelligent individuals are adept at regulating their own emotions, preventing knee-jerk reactions that escalate disputes. They practice active listening, resisting the urge to interrupt or deflect criticism. More importantly, they validate their partner's emotions, acknowledging that feelings, even irrational ones, are real and deserve attention. This validation fosters security, reinforcing the idea that a relationship is a safe haven rather than a battleground. Beyond conflict resolution, emotional intelligence enhances intimacy. When partners can express vulnerability without fear of judgment, they cultivate a deeper emotional bond. They share fears, hopes, and uncertainties, knowing that their emotions will be met with compassion rather than dismissal. This openness strengthens trust, allowing both individuals to rely on each other as sources of comfort and strength. In contrast, relationships lacking emotional intelligence often devolve into cycles of resentment, where misunderstandings fester and emotional distance grows. Cultivating emotional intelligence requires self-awareness and intentional effort. It begins with reflecting on one's own emotional responses, identifying triggers, and learning healthier ways to express feelings. It involves developing patience, especially in moments of disagreement, and prioritizing understanding over being right. A partner who embraces emotional intelligence doesn't just improve the relationship, they set a standard for how emotions should be handled, inspiring growth in their partner as well. In essence, emotional intelligence transforms relationships from transactional exchanges into deeply connected partnerships. It is the quiet force that turns casual conversations into meaningful dialogues, disagreements into opportunities for growth, and fleeting connections into lifelong bonds. When a partner possesses this trait, they offer more than love. They offer the gift of understanding, forging a connection that resonates beyond words. 4. Understanding, the bridge between two worlds. Understanding is more than just hearing words. It's about stepping into another person's reality, seeing the world through their eyes, and embracing the complexities of their emotions. A truly understanding partner doesn't just acknowledge your struggles. They internalize them, validating your experiences without judgment. This quality is not merely about sympathy. It's about deep, empathetic comprehension that fosters a sense of belonging and safety within a relationship. When someone understands you completely, they become a refuge, a person you can turn to in moments of uncertainty, knowing that you won't be dismissed or misunderstood. Dr. David Bernstein, a renowned psychologist, once wrote that the most enduring relationships are built on a foundation of mutual understanding. He argued that while passion and chemistry may ignite a connection, it is understanding that sustains it. Think of a moment when you felt truly heard, when someone didn't just nod along, but actually grasped the depth of what you were saying. That experience, however brief, likely left you feeling lighter, validated, and more connected. Now imagine having that presence in your life consistently, someone who doesn't just tolerate your emotions, but embraces them as part of your identity. That is the power of understanding. Consider the story of Elena and Mark, a couple who initially seemed incompatible. Elena was highly expressive, often voicing her anxieties openly, while Mark was more reserved, preferring to process emotions internally. Their early interactions were filled with frustration. Elena felt ignored when Mark didn't verbalize his feelings, and Mark felt overwhelmed by Elena's intensity. It wasn't until they committed to truly understanding each other that their relationship transformed. Mark learned to articulate his thoughts more clearly, reassuring Elena that his silence wasn't indifference, but a different way of processing emotions. Elena, in turn, learned to give him space without interpreting it as emotional detachment. By striving to understand each other's perspectives rather than expecting immediate alignment, they created a deeper bond, one rooted in acceptance rather than frustration. True understanding requires more than just patience. It demands active effort to see beyond surface-level reactions. It means resisting the urge to impose your own logic onto someone else's emotions, and instead asking, what is this person experiencing? It means recognizing that pain, confusion, or hesitation often stem from deeper roots, past experiences, insecurities, or unmet needs. A partner who embodies understanding doesn't rush to fix problems, but instead seeks to comprehend them, offering a listening ear before attempting solutions. When someone truly understands you, they don't just accept your words, they accept your entire being, including the parts that are difficult to explain. This kind of connection fosters trust, strengthening the emotional fabric of a relationship. It allows both individuals to be vulnerable without fear of rejection, knowing that their emotions will be met with empathy rather than dismissal. In a world where misunderstandings often lead to disconnection, finding someone who understands you completely is nothing short of transformative. 5. Kindness, the foundation of love and trust. Kindness is often mistaken for mere politeness or generosity, but in a relationship, it runs much deeper. It is the silent force that shapes the way two people treat each other, not just in grand gestures, but in the small, everyday moments that define a life together. A kind partner doesn't just do nice things. They embody compassion, patience, and generosity in every interaction. They choose empathy over irritation, understanding over blame, and warmth over indifference. In the intricate dance of a long-term relationship, kindness is the rhythm that keeps everything in harmony. Psychologist John Gottman's research on marital stability highlights kindness as one of the most critical elements for sustaining healthy relationships. In his studies of newlywed couples, he found that those who maintained a strong foundation of kindness and generosity were far more likely to remain together over time. Couples who engaged in acts of kindness, whether through thoughtful gestures, words of appreciation, or simple displays of affection, built a reservoir of goodwill that carried them through difficult periods. On the contrary, those who neglected kindness often fell into cycles of negativity, where small conflicts escalated into larger issues due to a lack of emotional generosity. Consider the example of Rachel and Adam, a couple who had been married for several years. Like any couple, they faced their share of disagreements, but what set them apart was their consistent display of kindness, even in moments of frustration. When one of them was stressed after a long day at work, the other would instinctively offer support, sometimes in the form of a warm meal, a listening ear, or simply a gentle touch on the shoulder. These small acts of kindness created an atmosphere of mutual care, ensuring that neither of them ever felt alone in their struggles. Even during heated arguments, they made a conscious effort to avoid cruel words or passive-aggressive behavior, recognizing that maintaining kindness was more important than winning an argument. Kindness fosters an environment of trust and emotional safety. When a partner consistently chooses kindness, it signals that they prioritize the well-being of the relationship over momentary frustrations. It allows both individuals to feel secure, knowing that their vulnerabilities will be met with compassion rather than judgment. This sense of security is essential for building intimacy, as it enables both partners to be their authentic selves without fear of rejection. Moreover, kindness has a ripple effect. It inspires reciprocity. When one person leads with generosity and empathy, it sets a standard for how the relationship should function. Over time, both partners begin to mirror each other's kindness, creating a cycle of mutual respect and care. This dynamic not only strengthens the bond between them, but also cultivates a lasting sense of partnership, where both individuals feel valued and appreciated. In essence, kindness is not just a virtue. It is the cornerstone of a thriving relationship. It transforms fleeting romance into enduring love, ensuring that even in the face of challenges, the connection between two people remains strong and resilient. 6. Respect, the cornerstone of equality and dignity. Respect is the invisible thread that weaves together the fabric of a healthy relationship. It is not merely about politeness or admiration, it is about recognizing and honoring the intrinsic worth of your partner as an individual. A respectful partner sees you as an equal, not someone to be controlled, corrected, or diminished. They understand that differences in opinion, experience, and boundaries are not threats but natural aspects of a dynamic, evolving relationship. When respect is present, it fosters an environment where both individuals feel valued, heard, and free to be themselves without fear of belittlement or coercion. At its core, respect means treating your partner with dignity, regardless of disagreements or emotional tension. It means acknowledging that their opinions, desires, and emotions are valid, even when they differ from your own. A disrespectful relationship, on the other hand, is marked by dominance, manipulation, and a lack of mutual regard. One partner may frequently dismiss the other's thoughts, label them as overreacting, or use sarcasm or condescension to undermine their confidence. Over time, this erodes trust and leaves one or both individuals feeling powerless, leading to resentment and emotional distance. Consider the case of Maria and Jordan, a couple whose relationship began with mutual admiration but gradually deteriorated due to a lack of respect. Initially, Maria admired Jordan's confidence and leadership, but as time passed, his assertiveness turned into control. He frequently dismissed her suggestions, mocked her interests, and undermined her decisions, telling her that she needed to be more realistic. Maria, once confident and independent, began doubting herself, questioning whether her thoughts and feelings were valid. It wasn't until she recognized the imbalance in their dynamic that she realized how deeply the lack of respect had affected her sense of self-worth. A respectful partner, by contrast, fosters a sense of equality. They engage in discussions as equals, valuing each other's perspectives without assuming superiority. They do not resort to name-calling, gaslighting, or belittling language, even in moments of frustration. Instead, they approach conflicts with the mindset that both parties deserve to be heard and understood. This does not mean agreeing on everything, but rather approaching disagreements with the fundamental belief that both individuals' voices matter. Respect also extends to personal boundaries. A respectful partner understands that autonomy is essential in a healthy relationship. They do not pressure their partner to conform to their expectations or disregard their need for space, privacy, or individual pursuits. They recognize that a successful relationship is not about merging identities into one, but about two whole individuals choosing to walk together while still maintaining their own paths. When respect is present, it creates a foundation of trust and emotional safety. Both partners feel empowered to express themselves without fear of judgment or retaliation. They know that even in moments of disagreement, they will be treated with fairness and consideration. This kind of mutual respect not only strengthens the relationship, but also nurtures personal growth, allowing both individuals to thrive individually and together. 7. The power of compromise. Building a partnership of mutual growth. Compromise is often misunderstood as a sign of weakness or surrender, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools for maintaining a healthy, balanced relationship. At its core, compromise is about finding common ground, meeting each other halfway in a way that honors both individuals' needs and values. It is not about one person giving in while the other wins, but rather about creating a solution that respects both perspectives. When compromise is practiced consistently, it fosters a sense of fairness, collaboration, and mutual respect, ensuring that neither partner feels unheard or undervalued. The key to effective compromise lies in recognizing that relationships are not competitions. There is no scoreboard keeping track of who gives in more often or who makes the bigger sacrifice. Instead, compromise is about working together to navigate challenges in a way that strengthens the relationship rather than weakening it. When both partners approach disagreements with the mindset that they are on the same team, they shift from adversarial positions to collaborative problem solving. This approach not only resolves conflicts more efficiently, but also reinforces the idea that both individuals are equally invested in the relationship's success. Consider the case of Olivia and Daniel, a couple who frequently clashed over financial decisions. Olivia was naturally frugal, prioritizing savings and long-term security, while Daniel preferred to enjoy life in the present, investing in experiences and spontaneous adventures. Initially, their differing perspectives led to frequent arguments. Olivia viewed Daniel's spending habits as reckless, while Daniel felt that Olivia was overly restrictive. Rather than continuing to argue from opposing sides, they decided to sit down and establish a budget that incorporated both of their priorities. They agreed on a monthly allocation for discretionary spending, allowing Daniel to enjoy his spontaneous outings while ensuring that Olivia's financial goals remained intact. By compromising, they not only resolved their immediate conflict, but also strengthened their financial partnership, ensuring that neither felt deprived or unheard. Effective compromise requires active listening and empathy. It is not about forcing a middle ground simply for the sake of resolution, but about truly understanding each other's perspectives and finding a solution that aligns with both individuals' values. This often involves asking questions like, "What does this mean to you?" or "How can we balance our needs here?" By engaging in open, non-defensive dialogue, couples can uncover the underlying motivations behind their preferences and work together to craft a solution that feels fair and sustainable. Additionally, compromise is not always about splitting the difference evenly. Sometimes one partner may take a bigger step toward the other's needs, trusting that the balance will be restored in future situations. What matters most is that both individuals feel respected and that the compromise reflects a shared commitment to the relationship's well-being. When compromise is practiced with sincerity and mutual respect, it becomes a cornerstone of a strong, enduring partnership, one where both individuals feel seen, valued, and empowered to grow together. 8. Acceptance. Embracing imperfection without judgment. To accept someone entirely, to see their flaws, quirks, and imperfections and still choose to stand by them is one of the most profound forms of love. In a world obsessed with perfection, the ability to embrace imperfection without judgment is rare and invaluable. A partner who accepts you for who you are, without trying to mold you into someone else, creates a space where vulnerability is safe, self-expression is free, and authenticity is celebrated. This kind of acceptance fosters deep emotional security, allowing both individuals to grow without fear of rejection or criticism. Acceptance does not mean ignoring faults or pretending that challenges don't exist. Rather, it means acknowledging those imperfections without letting them define the relationship. A partner who truly accepts you understands that flaws are part of what makes you human, and they love you not despite those flaws, but because they are woven into the fabric of who you are. They don't constantly point out your shortcomings or attempt to change you to fit an idealized version of who they think you should be. Instead, they meet you where you are, offering support and understanding rather than frustration or disappointment. Consider the story of Marcus and Lila, a couple who had been together for several years. Marcus struggled with anxiety, often overthinking situations and worrying excessively about the future. Lila, who was naturally more impulsive and spontaneous, initially found his cautious nature frustrating. She wanted to live in the moment, while he often hesitated, weighing every decision carefully. Rather than trying to change him or dismissing his concerns, Lila chose to understand his perspective. She acknowledged that his anxiety wasn't a flaw to be fixed, but a part of his experience that shaped how he navigated the world. Over time, she adapted her approach, encouraging spontaneity in ways that felt manageable for him, rather than pushing him beyond his comfort zone. In return, Marcus learned to trust Lila's instincts, recognizing that her impulsiveness often led to joyful experiences they might have otherwise missed. Their relationship thrived not because they changed each other, but because they embraced each other's differences without judgment. True acceptance also fosters self-esteem and personal growth. When someone accepts you unconditionally, it sends a powerful message. You are worthy of love exactly as you are. This affirmation builds confidence, allowing individuals to take risks, explore new aspects of themselves, and evolve without fear of losing their partner's approval. In contrast, relationships built on conditional acceptance, where love is tied to meeting certain standards, create insecurity and self-doubt. Partners in such dynamics often feel pressured to suppress parts of themselves, leading to resentment and emotional distance. Acceptance is not passive. It is an ongoing choice to see your partner holistically, to love them not only for their strengths, but also for the imperfections that make them uniquely themselves. It requires patience, empathy, and a willingness to move beyond surface-level judgments. When a partner embodies this kind of acceptance, they offer something rare and precious, a relationship where both individuals can be fully, unapologetically themselves without fear of rejection. 9. Shared values, the bedrock of long-term compatibility. Values are the compass that guides our decisions, defines our priorities, and shapes our worldview. While minor differences in preferences, such as favorite music, food, or entertainment choices, can add richness to a relationship, core values are the foundation upon which long-term compatibility is built. When two people share fundamental beliefs about life, love, family, morality, and personal responsibility, they create a sense of alignment that fosters stability and mutual understanding. Conversely, opposing core values can lead to persistent conflict, eroding the foundation of a relationship over time. Core values are not just abstract ideals. They influence how individuals approach major life decisions. Consider the importance of shared views on marriage, parenting, religion, financial responsibility, or career ambitions. If one partner envisions a traditional family life, while the other resists the idea of settling down, the resulting mismatch can create tension that no amount of affection can resolve. Similarly, if one person places a high value on honesty and integrity, while the other rationalizes deception when convenient, trust becomes fragile. These fundamental differences, when left unaddressed, can lead to disillusionment and ultimately fracture a relationship. Take the example of Claire and Ryan, a couple who initially bonded over their shared sense of humor and intellectual curiosity. However, as their relationship progressed, they began to notice growing disparities in their core values. Claire prioritized financial independence and planned to start her own business, while Ryan valued job security and preferred a more conventional corporate path. Additionally, Claire viewed marriage as a necessary step before having children, whereas Ryan believed in cohabitation without formal commitments. These differences, though seemingly manageable in the early stages of their relationship, became increasingly difficult to reconcile. Despite their affection for each other, they eventually realized that their fundamental outlooks on life were diverging in ways that neither was willing to compromise on. Shared values do not require complete agreement on every issue, but they do necessitate a willingness to find common ground and respect each other's perspectives. A relationship thrives when both partners are aligned on the principles that shape their daily lives and long-term aspirations. Open communication about these values early in a relationship can prevent future disappointments and ensure that both individuals are moving toward a shared vision. When core values align, a relationship gains a sense of purpose and direction, reinforcing the bond between two people and increasing the likelihood of lasting harmony. 10. Resilience through adversity, the ability to weather storms. Together, life is not a smooth road, and no relationship, no matter how strong, is immune to hardship. What separates fleeting connections from lasting bonds is how a couple responds when challenges arise. A partner who demonstrates resilience through adversity is someone who doesn't run when life gets tough, but instead stands firm, faces obstacles head-on, and grows stronger because of them. This kind of resilience isn't about being unbreakable. It's about being willing to bend, adapt, and rise again, together. Resilience in a relationship means more than just enduring hardship. It means navigating it with grace, patience, and unity. It's the ability to face setbacks, be they financial struggles, health issues, job loss, or personal failures, without blaming each other or falling apart. It's choosing to stay connected even when the world feels like it's pulling you apart. And perhaps most importantly, it's the quiet strength that allows both partners to heal, grow, and rebuild trust after difficult times. Consider the story of Tasha and Jamal, a couple who faced one of the most challenging periods of their lives when Jamal lost his job during an economic downturn. For months, they struggled financially, and the stress began to seep into every aspect of their relationship. Tasha, normally patient and calm, found herself snapping over small things, while Jamal withdrew, feeling ashamed and defeated. They were on the verge of drifting apart, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. What saved them was not the absence of struggle, but how they chose to respond to it. Instead of letting the pressure drive them further apart, they made a conscious decision to face the situation together. They sat down and created a realistic budget, talked openly about their fears, and divided responsibilities in ways that eased the burden on both. Jamal started freelancing while looking for full-time work, and Tasha took on extra shifts at her job. But beyond the practical steps, what truly brought them back together was their shared commitment to supporting each other emotionally. They reminded each other daily that this was a season, not a sentence, that their worth wasn't tied to their current circumstances, and that love could carry them through even the darkest moments. Over time, their bond didn't just survive, it deepened. The experience taught them that resilience isn't about avoiding pain, but about learning how to move through it without losing sight of each other. Jamal eventually landed a new job, and though the financial strain eased, the emotional resilience they built stayed with them forever. A resilient partner knows that conflict, failure, and uncertainty are inevitable, but they also know that these trials don't have to break a relationship. Instead, they can be opportunities for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. They understand that setbacks reveal character, and that how a person shows up in hard times often speaks louder than any grand gesture or promise. This kind of resilience is rooted in several key qualities we've already discussed: support, emotional intelligence, respect, compromise, and acceptance. But it brings them all together under one powerful umbrella: the ability to endure and thrive together. When you find someone who stays by your side not just in joy, but in sorrow, who fights for the relationship rather than against you, you've found someone rare. Someone who doesn't just love you when life is easy, but who loves you enough to walk through fire with you when it isn't. That is resilience. And that is why, if your partner possesses this final vital trait, you should never let them go. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, do well to click like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more insightful videos. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you can be notified when next I post subsequent videos. See you on my next video. Bye.